good evening and namaskar. Thank you, PJMT and Risks Built Environment for inviting me here. As Sandeep sir has mentioned, डॉक्टर जैन की जो ऑरा था वो बहुत यूनिक था. आई वॉज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दैट बेनिफिट पार्ट एंड दैट इज हाउ आई एम हेयर बिकॉज I have been getting the benefit from his words, his wisdom, and his sayings and learnings which he has distributed among all of us. I have learned and had Ashish ji and Tanushri. I think certainly they have done a wonderful work in their career, their journey so far. In terms of me as an entrepreneur, I have been invited by MET earlier also, and couple of weeks before, I was actually addressed the gathering on the topic of low carbon built-in infrastructure. And for this particular event, when Sandeep sir has mentioned that I need to talk about myself, and that was actually, as Ashish ji has mentioned, it is one of the thought process which you put together in the form of 15, 18 minutes. I think it's not a simple task. But I'll try my best. And that is what I think is today's discussion or presentation from my side here. In terms of education, I did my architecture or undergrad from IIT Roorkee. I became an architect. And then I moved from architecture to energy efficiency professional or sustainability professional. And then just after 3 years from my college in 2009, I became an entrepreneur and I started working in terms of building up the GreenTree Global as an organization. You can imagine at that point of time in 2009, there was not much of the ecosystem available like we have here. And if you look at how we have, maybe I think, begin this journey, then I have come from a middle class family. The average aspiration in general in those days in the middle class is like you need to have a decent education. And after the education, you need to have a decent job. And that is how was my aspiration was as well. Somehow I got an admission in IIT, and then I think the time changed from there, because not because the IIT has a lot of infrastructure, certainly it is, but a lot of peer inspiration, their day-to-day lifestyle, their working, their knowledge, they're also very much like contagious and they helped you a lot. In general, if you look at my second year, if I remember it correctly, I used to spend a lot of time in the library. और उस समय से लेकर के अब तक I personally feel that एक रीडिंग अपने आप में ही एक बहुत ही अनोखा सा एक्सपीरियंस है, which help you in general not only in the professional life but also in the personal life as well. And then I'll also ask one question, but that there is a novel which talks about the entrepreneurship in terms of train transport or train as a business, owning a train as a business. And if you could just let us know about the novel name, there will certainly be a gift from PJMT here. But that particular novel has given me a lot of inspiration, and I started dreaming how to build that maybe business from that day. It is not easy at that point of time until today. If you look at the train or rail as a transport, as a business, the time or the policy has been changed now. You can actually own the train and run the transport business. But at that point of time, it was nothing. And that is how you see how these entrepreneurial maybe seeds they gets into your mind, and you start dreaming about how you start your business. After the college, I did my internship with architect Charles Correa, and he also has a very deep inspirational image on me. Some of you might be knowing him as well. He was one of the major architecture figure in India. Or he has also mentioned that he has done his masters in urban planning from MIT. और जब उन्होंने बताया कि उनकी जो थीसिस रिपोर्ट है वो सिर्फ 14 पेजेस की है, इंक्लूडिंग फर्स्ट एंड लास्ट पेजेस एज वेल, देन ही ऑल्सो मेंशन्ड कि 14 पेजेस जो उनके लिखे गए हैं वो सिर्फ उन्हीं के हैं, और ऑल द वर्क दैट ही हैज डन अर्नड हिम द गोल्ड मेडल इन दैट थीसिस एज वेल. In nutshell, what he means to say that if you have your own words and do the quality work in your delivery, it will take you to the next step always. और उस दिन से लेकर के जब तक फर्स्ट जॉब मैंने सीमेंस में की, तब तक आई थिंक दिस वाज वन ऑफ द मंत्रा दैट आई यूज्ड टू टॉक टू लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स about how I have experienced in that particular office, because it was very well informed. He was very well, a good orator also. और उस समय से लेकर के जब मैंने सीमेंस वाज माय जॉब प्लेसमेंट, सीमेंस की लाइफ अपने आप में ही अलग तरीके की थी. आई वाज इन द पावर डिवीजन, और आप सोचिए एक आर्किटेक्ट पावर प्लांट डिज़ाइन में सब स्टेशन डिज़ाइन, पावर प्लांट डिज़ाइन, इन सब चीज़ों को लेकर के काम कर रहा है. बिकॉज मे बी आई वॉज मोर फैसिनेटेड टूवर्ड्स द इलेक्ट्रिकल, मैकेनिकल और सस्टेनेबिलिटी बाई इन लार्ज और इंजीनियरिंग साइड. बट एक और एरिया है जहाँ पे यू ऑल्सो फील दैट देयर इज अ सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में आपके एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना है, एंड यू फील दैट यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट 6.5 लाख maybe the peers, because उस समय 2006 में जब मैं सीमेंस में काम कर रहा था तो लगभग 6.5 लाख लोग सीमेंस के पेरोल पे थे, and you are one of them. And if you want to maybe rise in your career, it will take hell lot of effort. Certainly effort करने में कोई बुराई नहीं है, but in general you can see your progressive path. And this is the maybe द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहाँ पे मुझे मेरा बिजनेस पार्टनर ध्रुव से भी मुलाकात हुई. ही वॉज इन डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट. आई विल कम बैक टू दिस पार्ट अगेन. बट आफ्टर दिस सीमेंस इंस्टेंट, इट वॉज अ शॉर्ट इंस्टेंट, सिर्फ 11 महीने 12 महीने की इंस्टेंट थी. आई डिसाइडेड टू क्विट एंड wanted to join something which is smaller in size. और फिर मैंने यूएसएड का प्रोजेक्ट को ज्वाइन किया. आई वॉज सेकेंड एम्प्लॉई ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट, और उस हिसाब से टोटल स्ट्रेंथ प्रोजेक्ट की 10 लोगों हुई. बट आप रियलाइज करिए, व्हेन यू वर्क इन ए स्मॉलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यू गेट टू डू ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग. आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती भी है और आपके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत सारी अवेलेबल होती है करने के लिए. दैट इज हाउ यू गेट एक्सपोज टू लॉट ऑफ opportunities, lot of work areas, and you have maybe a better exposure of lot of things which you do or undo get to learn. वहाँ पे 2 साल काम करने के बाद 2009 में मैंने ग्रीन ट्री ग्लोबल अलॉन्ग विद ध्रुव जैन स्टार्ट किया. और ये 3 साल के बाद में इस जर्नी को स्टार्ट करना अपने आप में एक चैलेंज था. सम ऑफ यू माइट बी रिमेंबरिंग कि वो समय एक ग्लोबल स्लम्प का समय था. एंड देन आई एंड ध्रुव हैव ऑल्सो थॉट दैट इफ यू कुड जस्ट मे बी स्विम ओवर through this journey at this point of time, we can actually build it a big. और उसी समय से लेकर के there are certain milestones which we have achieved. जैसे पहला ही हमें माइलस्टोन अचीव हुआ जिसमें हम लोगों को एक छोटा सा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिला, जिसमें हम लोग एनर्जी पॉलिसी टूल्स, जो कि अगेन पॉलिसी से रिलेटेड था टूल, एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी इन बिल्डिंग्स के एरिया में हमें इको निर्माण टूल, इको बेंच टूल, ये सब बनाने का हमें मौका मिला. एनर्जी मीटर्स एज ए प्रोडक्ट, आप सोचिए उस समय एनर्जी मीटरिंग एज ए कंपोनेंट बहुत ही नया सा था. आप प्रीपेड एनर्जी मीटर्स या डुअल सोर्स मीटरिंग की बात कर रहे हैं एज एन आर्किटेक्ट, बिकॉज यू हैव लॉट ऑफ क्लैरिटी दैट यू वांट टू बिल्ड फ्रॉम the consulting business to the policy business to maybe the product business, or that is where we were very much clear that we want to get into the product because product has a scalability as a component. All of you or some of you might be also interested in building your own organization. That is how the such thought process will always be there, will be culminating in your mind maybe in due course of time कि किस हिसाब से आपको अपने बिजनेस को स्केल करना है, बिल्ड कैसे करना है. मीटर्स एज ए प्रोडक्ट अगर आप लोग देखें तो इट्स नॉट स्मॉल, और मे बी आई थिंक द it requires a certain amount of money to build the business. So we raise the fund. And in due course of time, we also thought that not only this business, but the consulting as a business also has a lot of opportunity, because we started realizing in 2014-15 that there is a huge demand for the good consulting firm. And that is how we have started working not only in the domestic market, but also internationally as well. And in 2017 up to, we have started working in almost like 6 to 7 countries in terms of maybe lead certification, energy simulation, CFD simulation, and so many such maybe specific demand, which in our country they are certainly quite good delivery in terms of quality, but they are cost effective for the offshore countries. And at this point of time, we are almost 100 plus people team. We are building energy efficiency domain. We are into MSME. We are into Discom, a distribution company, energy efficiency part, EV, energy efficiency financing, all these specific areas where we have been working for last 14 years so far in this area. Now, all these things जो मैंने आपको बताई, ये सब सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है. But there are a lot of challenges, failures, and mistakes also we did. पहला चैलेंज तो यही था जब मैंने 2008 के बाद में अपने फैमिली को कन्विंस करना शुरू किया दैट आई डू नॉट वांट टू वर्क एज अ पार्ट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट आई वांट टू स्टार्ट माय ओन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. And for a middle class family, you can correlate this challenge. They cannot absorb this thought. And ultimately, I had to start without telling them as well. I told them after almost like 8 months when I secured something, and I could tell that I can work independently as well. And that is how we see that the convincing your own family is also the biggest challenge for all of us. And then some of the failures, like if you start working on something and that particular activity is ahead of time, or maybe कुछ एक्टिविटी जो कि आपने बहुत देर में की हैं, लेट में की हैं, दोनों ही केसेस में यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू मेक इट बिग. सर्टेनली फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट पे काम किया, होम एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट सोल्यूशन, and it was a solution which we started building with Panasonic as a brand, as a company. And हमारा रोल ये था कि हम लोग उस घर के जितने भी अप्लायंसेस थे उनके पैटर्न को डिटेक्ट करके उनके लिए सॉफ्टवेयर बनाएं या उनके लिए एक सोल्यूशन बनाएं जिसमें कि लोगों को अपने आप उस तरीके के मैसेजेस, उस तरह की इंफॉर्मेशन आती रहें कि अपने आप उनका एनर्जी कंजप्शन ऑप्टिमाइज हो सके. आप सोचिए 13-14 के टाइम पे इस तरह की चीज़ों को कोई सुनना, बताना, कन्विंस करना अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज था. आज के टाइम में भी है. तो वी स्टिल आर इन दैट फेज जहाँ पे इस चीज़ को लेकर के अभी भी लोगों की अवेयरनेस का लेवल बहुत कम था. एंड देन बिल्डिंग द बिजनेस ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 8 years बिफोर अबाउट ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक वॉज अवंतिका डे. एंड दैट्स हाउ we failed miserably. All the investment, we almost on the broke condition, invested hugely. It was a bootstrap model. And that is how we started seeing the maybe more rational maybe solutions in terms of products. Some of the maybe activities like metering as a technology, जो लोग प्रोडक्ट बिजनेस में हैं दे कैन कोरिलेट दिस बिजनेस और दिस स्टेटमेंट क्लियरली. अगर आप किसी भी प्रोडक्ट को सही समय पे विद राइट टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ लॉन्च नहीं करते हैं, आप ये मान करके चलिए कि ऑल द रिस्क ऑफ फेलिंग द प्रोडक्ट विल बी ऑन यू. और वही हमारे साथ भी हुआ इस वाले केस में. मीटरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड इन 2013-14, we started with the LAN as a maybe communication protocol, and after an year or so when we launched the product there was RF communication protocol, and then most of the private players they started asking something like wireless. Why don't we need or bring the wireless devices rather than the wired devices? And you start again researching everything, and that is how you see the challenge, because you already have maybe eaten up all your saved money. You are not able to go to market with another round of maybe a raised fund just because the assessment of the market was wrong for you. And that is how you need to look at continuously and keep an eye on the market, what is going on. And if you are not adaptive and you are not maybe moving your heads around every time, it is a big, maybe I think a challenge for you. One of the big mistakes that we did, because when we realized that from the consulting to product we are not able to make a lot of maybe the top line, we started venturing into the EPC business as well. Because EPC in general, maybe if you look at the term engineering, procurement and construction, it's a money intensive business. We feel that this is how we can always build maybe more, maybe much better top line. And that was a mistake that we did almost like maybe 7 to 8 years before. But after a couple of years only, in 2017-18, till that time, we started realizing that this is not our cup of tea, because you cannot have multiple hats at the same point of time. Either you think like a consultant or you think like a contractor. You cannot have both things together in your thought process. And that is how a lot of learnings for all of us, particularly for me, that I have, maybe I think these are the reflections that I have brought in for you. Persuasiveness is always the best way forward. You have to be persuasive always, all the time. If you have learned or you have decided to build something, you cannot just leave it. You have to be more persuasive and try to build. You might bring the pivot in your business or in your maybe thought process, but you have to build your business with a lot of big maybe pivot or changes or modification in the business. Adaptability, and that is what maybe are some of the examples that I have given in your thought process. Even if you are studying, some of you might be going for building your own business. Adaptability is one thing which makes a lot of meaningfulness in going forward. Be curious and don't afraid. What it particularly means to say, most of the cases we are multitasking in the activities, even in the studies also. We are doing something, simultaneously you are listening to the show as well. But in terms of the curiosity, you have to ask questions. You have to not be afraid what will happen if you ask, because until as you are not asking question, your curiosity will not be answered. And that is how maybe I think your knowledge, your understanding of the subject will not be good enough in that way. Value mentorship and time. Certainly the value of the time is the biggest thing that you have to look at what age you are in. At my age, when we started this business, I think it was nothing to lose for me. But when someone, let's say 20 years or 30 years of age, if someone starts the business, there's a lot of liability. There's a lot of accountability, not only for you, but your family, for your professional career. A lot of things, they will be part and parcel of your thought process. And you need to think what is the best time for you to start your business or your professional journey. Maybe if you are switching from one organization to another organization, one domain to another domain, what will be the best time? So that is something which is very, very important aspect, I will say. build your team and network. I think this is something which has helped me as a professional, as an entrepreneur a lot, because you get to learn and get to do and get the lot of work done from your network. If you do not have built your network, there will be a lot of challenges. So this is something which is very, very important aspect. In terms of call to action, I would surely recommend, because I think this is something which has been there in my veins a lot, that you try to be entrepreneur, or at least the entrepreneurship attitude or the thought process that has to be there, and you have to embrace the thought process. Even if you are working in the organization, still you have to have that zeal to deliver. You have to have that zeal to be entrepreneur in your thought process, in your activities. Because अगर आप उस मानसिकता के साथ नहीं हैं, तो शायद आप एक एवरेज प्रोफेशनल की तरह ही हैं, और कहीं ना कहीं आप लोगों को आज नहीं तो मे बी वंस यू फिनिश योर करियर एंड यू आर स्टार्ट लिविंग योर लाइफ विद योर फैमिली मेम्बर्स, समवेयर आपको इस चीज़ का एहसास ज़रूर होगा कि शायद आप कुछ अच्छा कर लेते तो और अच्छे जगह पे होते। तो इस तरह की टीस न रहे, यू शुड नॉट बी इन दैट रिमोट मोड। इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आपको जो भी करना है वो बेस्ट तरीके से करना चाहिए। और इस चीज़ के लिए कोई भी अच्छा समय आएगा, ये अपने आप में ही एक क्वेश्चन मार्क है। कोई भी समय बाद में अच्छा होगा, ये सब चीज़ें सब थॉट प्रोसेस का पार्ट हैं। जो समय अभी है वही बेस्ट समय है। इट इज़ जस्ट द इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज़ दैट यू हैव टू पुट ऑल योर थॉट्स टुगेदर, और इसको हमें शुरू करना चाहिए। स्टार्टअप अगेन, व्हाट इट पर्टिकुलरली मीन्स टू से, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ फेलियर्स हमारे इस इंडस्ट्री में ही। इफ यू लुक एट लॉट ऑफ फर्म्स विच गेट्स built and then they get vanished also. It is okay. It is okay to be failed, because you have learned which nobody can teach you. What is important that you have to start again. So it is important not only in terms of entrepreneurship but also in terms of your profession. You have to treat every day like an entrepreneur day. You have to be exciting, you have to learn everything, and that should be the goal for every day. And that is my suggestion. In last 14 years we have built this organization, and at this point of time, if you look at the portfolio or the verticals that we have built, we are working from a small, maybe product related business, to the university or the city level portfolio also, in terms of ratings, in terms of assessment, in terms of integrated design, in terms of lot more research activities that we do. That is the scale that we carry out at this point of time. In terms of diversity, because I may be belonging from the building sector, but if you have the good team, the team can always deliver as per your expectation. And that is where the building the team is one of the, maybe I think the more exciting thing for me. And I feel that I have been doing it with a lot of religious thought process so far. In terms of advisory, because the policy is one thing which is very, very important. I have my second job with the policy stint. So I understand that this business is very exciting when you create the policy and maybe other people to follow. It gives a lot of good high feeling as well. So a lot of maybe the new areas where we are exploring and working at this point of time. EV is one of them, air quality second, maybe low carbon buildings, low carbon maybe infrastructure. Carbon credits is again a lot of maybe noise which are coming in this area. So this is again, product is something where you can actually scale the business a lot. It has immense maybe possibility, but it is a risky along with at the same point of time as well. But you have to build, if you have the clarity of the product or the solution, there's nothing which is more exciting compared to this as a business. In terms of skills, certainly whatever we have learned, it is our responsibility to share with the younger generation. In 2020, when the pandemic was at its peak, we started to develop this as a part of the solution as well. And then we started GT Academy. And we have worked almost like maybe close to 10,000 students so far across India, or even I think some of the South Asian countries as well, where we have taught them in terms of building efficiency, in terms of other EV specific domain knowledge. And this is something which gives us a lot of maybe immense satisfaction that we are not only building our team, but we are also building the future that actually is very, very important aspect for all of us. Thank you so much, PJMT, for having me here, and thank you all of you for patience listening. Thank you.